Welcome to Iron Arena. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and join our community of fight fans. Today, we're diving into the story of Strickland, one of the most unpredictable, unfiltered, and unapologetic fighters in the UFC. A man whose journey from a troubled childhood to the top of the middleweight division is as raw and chaotic as his personality. Let's uncover the fighter, the survivor, and the champion in his own right. Childhood. Strickland's childhood was far from easy. Born in Anaheim, California, he grew up in an environment marked by instability, anger, and struggle. From a young age, he was surrounded by chaos at home and on the streets. He often talks openly about the abuse and difficulties he endured as a kid, experiences that shaped his worldview and left deep scars. Those early years were filled with pain, but they also fueled a fire inside him. Wasn't handed guidance or safety nets. Instead, he found himself fighting his way through life long before he ever stepped into a gym. Martial arts became not just a sport for him, but a lifeline, a place to channel anger, to find discipline, and to carve out a new path. MMA. When Strickland first stepped into the world of MMA, it didn't take long for observers to recognize his raw potential and the unique fearlessness he carried with him. Making his professional debut as a teenager, he entered the cage with little hesitation, showing a level of confidence and toughness far beyond his years. From the very beginning, Strickland wasn't fighting just to win. He was fighting to prove that he belonged among the best, no matter who stood in front of him. His early years were spent in King of the Cage, one of the sport's toughest proving grounds for hungry prospects. There, he quickly rose through the ranks, capturing the middleweight championship and defending it multiple times in dominant fashion. He showcased a style that would later become his trademark: constant forward pressure, crisp and disciplined boxing, and a granite chin that allowed him to absorb punishment while breaking down his opponents piece by piece. Fight after fight, Cian's reputation grew, not only as a champion, but as someone who never backed away from a challenge. By 2014, Strickland's performances made it impossible for the bigger stage to ignore him, and he signed with the UFC. His rise wasn't overnight. He faced tough competition, setbacks, and learning experiences. But what stood out was his consistency and resilience. Every fight became a test of will, and Cian made it clear that he wasn't just another name on the roster. With each appearance, his reputation as a tough, durable, no-nonsense fighter solidified. He didn't rely on flash or theatrics. Instead, he relied on grit, fundamentals, and sheer determination. It was in these formative years that the MMA community realized Strickland wasn't going anywhere. He was here to stay, and he was only getting better. Motorcycle accident. But Cian's career nearly ended in tragedy. In 2018, he suffered a devastating motorcycle accident that left his leg shattered and his future uncertain. Doctors weren't sure if he'd ever fight again. For months, he struggled not just with physical recovery, but with the mental toll of watching his dream hang in the balance. For a fighter like Strickland, who had built his identity around combat, the accident was more than an injury, it was an existential crisis. Recovery. Yet, true to his nature, Strickland refused to give in. His recovery was grueling, filled with setbacks, pain, and doubt. But he pushed through, piece by piece, rebuilding his body and his spirit. By 2020, he made a triumphant return to the octagon, proving not only that he was back, but that he was more dangerous than ever. His comeback wasn't just physical, it was a statement about resilience, about refusing to be broken, no matter the odds. Fighting style. What sets Strickland apart is his unique and deceptively effective fighting style. Unlike fighters who chase highlight reel knockouts or throw risky, flashy techniques, Strickland's approach is grounded in fundamentals. He thrives on constant forward pressure, closing distance, and forcing opponents to retreat. With a stiff jab and straight punches down the middle, he throws at a pace that feels endless, wearing down his rivals not with one big moment but with steady, suffocating volume. His defense is just as distinct. Instead of wide movements or flashy slips, Strickland relies on subtle head shifts, tight blocks, and a high guard that absorbs or deflects most incoming strikes. This frustrates opponents, who find themselves swinging at targets they can't hit cleanly. And while they're missing, Strickland keeps landing his jab, breaking rhythm, and stealing their confidence little by little. The secret weapon that makes all of this work is his cardio. Strickland doesn't slow down, whether it's round 1 or round 5. His pace remains the same, and his pressure only grows heavier as his opponents start to fade. Fighting him becomes a mental and physical grind, where even skilled strikers feel trapped, outworked, and exhausted by the final bell. This style reached its defining moment in 2023, when Strickland stunned the MMA world by defeating Israel Adesanya to capture the UFC middleweight title. Adesanya, known as one of the greatest strikers in the sport's history, was expected to dismantle him. Instead, Strickland stuck to his plan: forward pressure, disciplined fundamentals, and constant output. Over 5 rounds, he didn't just survive against Adesanya. He outstruck him, proving that patience, grit, and mastery of the basics can overcome even the flashiest champions. True conversation. Outside the cage, Strickland is just as controversial as he is inside it. Known for his unfiltered personality, he says exactly what's on his mind, no matter how offensive, outrageous, or brutally honest it may sound. Interviews with Scene often feel less like press conferences and more like raw therapy sessions, where he talks about his past, his views on society, and his philosophy of life. Some fans love him for being real, while others criticize him for crossing the line. But one thing is certain: Strickland never pretends to be anyone else. He doesn't put on a mask for the cameras. What you see is what you get, and in today's world of carefully polished athletes, that makes him stand out even more. And that's the story of Cian Strickland, the fighter, the survivor, the champion, and the man who refuses to be silenced. From a troubled childhood to the top of the middleweight division, his journey is proof that no matter how chaotic life gets, resilience and determination can carve out greatness. This is Iron Arena. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and let us know in the comments which fighter story you want us to cover next. Until next time, keep fighting, keep believing, and stay strong.